The Mosque of Suleyman the Magnificent is located on the third hill, and it is an architectural masterpiece and was built between 1550 and 1557 by Sinan the architect. It has 4 minarets with 10 balconies, signifying Suleyman the Magnificent as the 10th Ottoman Sultan from the beginning and the 4th one to have ruled after the conquest of Constantinople in Istanbul. The minarets are 74 meters tall, and there is a rectangular fountain in the center of a courtyard of this main building, which is almost a square, like 57 meters by 60 meters. The diameter of the dome is 25 meters, and its height is 53 meters. The main dome is carried by 4 elephant feet pillars, and it's supported by 4 huge vaults. The white marble is from the island of Marmara, and the green marble came from the Arabian Peninsula. The perfect acoustic system enables the voice of the imam to be heard from everywhere. Within the complex, outside of the mosque, we have a hospital, a place to look after the poor people by providing food to them, and most of the tombs in the area belong to the family of Suleyman the Magnificent and his close relatives, such as his famous wife Roxolana, as well as Sinan the architect, are buried in this area. Most earlier palaces of Constantinople were constructed in the city center around a hippodrome. However, from the 8th century onwards, palaces such as the Blachernae or Tekfur Palace were built by the city walls and was used until the city was conquered by the Ottoman Turks. The 3-storied, colorful facade is decorated with brick and stone workmanship and was built in the 12th century with a small courtyard adjacent to the city walls. One of the major reasons why the city of Constantinople was a very hard city to conquer was based on the fact that it had the very strong city walls going around it. 22 kilometers long, on this triangular format, the city of Constantinople had the final walls by 413 AD at the time of Theodosius II. It's approximately 6 kilometers long between the Marble Tower and the Golden Horn on the land side, while the Golden Horn and the Sea of Marmara sections form the triangle. With some 16 major gates, it's a 3-level defense system: the exterior wall, the moat, and the interior wall. UNESCO sponsored the restoration of the walls of Constantinople since 1980. The Cariye Museum was once upon a time the church of Chora and was then converted into a mosque. But the original church goes back to the 6th century AD. The second church was built in the 11th century AD. The third church was built in the 12th century AD. And the final one was completed by the 14th century, by 1321, at the time of Theodore Metochites, who is presenting a model of the church to Jesus Christ seated above the entrance gate. He is wearing an interesting turban, who was the Grand Legate of Constantinople at the time. The main church has no mosaics inside the dome because of earthquakes, and it was converted into a mosque, so a little mihrab can be noticed in the front. One of the most interesting scenes inside is the Last Judgment with Jesus Christ, Virgin Mary, the 6 fathers of the church underneath the fresco of Anastasis is interesting along with Jesus Christ welcoming those into the church with the three fingers open, and the exonarthex has scenes from the life of Jesus Christ, while in the indonarthex we have scenes from the life of Virgin Mary. The mosaics are some of the finest works in the world, and indeed the finest Renaissance mosaics are in this Church of Chora. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the gems of Istanbul is this little church of Chora, today located in the Edirne Kapı district, is welcoming those into the church. ICNXC Chora Ton on Ton, as one can notice it above the entrance gate. Virgin Mary is passing away with Peter and Paul on both sides. The burning of the rich men in hell and the bringing of life of Adam and Eve by Jesus Christ are some of those most wonderful scenes. Eyüp Mosque, and in the nearby hills, the Pierre Loti Hill, is one of the most sacred places of worship within the Islamic world. Eyüp al-Ansari was the flag bearer of Prophet Muhammad, and he died here during the Arabic siege of Constantinople in the 7th century AD. His grave was discovered in 1453 during the siege of Constantinople, and a mosque was built by then to commemorate his burial. The earlier mosque was demolished by an earthquake, which was replaced by the present one in the 18th century. The mosque is surrounded by cemeteries, and on the hill lies the Pierre Loti Cafe. A French poet, writer, a lover of Istanbul, came here for the best view of the Golden Horn and wrote his memoir on top of the hill overlooking the Mosque of Eyüp. The Golden Horn is a naturally safe and protected harbor and has given throughout history a tremendous help to the development of the town of Istanbul. It divides the European section into two parts. It's approximately 8 kilometers long, and its name comes from the word of fertility, and it's naturally shaped like a horn. The Byzantine had a chain that was placed in between the two sections of the Golden Horn, preventing the enemy ships from entrance into the harbor. Today we have 3 bridges across the Golden Horn that separates the two sections of the European Istanbul as the old and the new cities.